Hi everyone, I'm Laura and welcome back to my channel. Today I have a hopefully fairly quick wrap up for Reading Rush. That was last week. It was the 20th to the 26th of July, hosted by Ariel and Leanne. I will link their website below. It's been going on for quite a while. All the cool kids do it, you know. I tried to jump in and be a cool kid, not really a cool kid, but I did participate. I ended up finishing 5 of the 7 prompts. I got partway through another one. So I'll start with what I kind of failed at. Not kind of, I failed at. This one is read a book that takes place in a different continent than yours. And I picked Where the Peacocks Sing by Alison, Singh, and I just ran out of time. I was playing too many games on my phone and watching too much TV, apparently. I don't know. I ran out of time, so didn't get to this one, but I will because it's on my shelves. And then the one that I only partially got through is the prompt for read the first book that you touch. So I have a collection. I thought it was 100. It's only 47. A collection of these Arterly novella series published by Melville House. So it's on my dining room table. So I just leaned over and ran my finger back and forth, and then this was the first one I landed on. So it's Freya of the Seven Isles by Joseph Conrad. I'm about halfway through. It's set somewhere in Asia, close to the Philippines, close to Malaysia, somewhere over there, because they mention those countries. I don't think these 7 isles exist. I could be wrong. I didn't look it up. Why would I prepare for this video? But I don't know. So it's set in and around these 7 islands, and one specifically. Freya is the daughter of an Englishman who portrays himself as a Dutchman because it's Dutch owned at the time. The whole area is Dutch owned. But everyone who really knows him knows that he is English. So his wife died, and his daughter, Freya, was raised by, I think, in China by some Chinese women until they retired. So then Freya moved to her father's island when she must have been 16, 17, somewhere around there. Right now she's 20, where this book is taking place. So from what's happening so far, we have an unnamed narrator, a male, who knows all the parties involved. And Freya is in love with Jasper, who I believe is also English. I'm not 100%. He's not Asian. He's white of some kind, European of some kind. And he is very much in love with Freya. How she's beautiful and smart and, you know, all this stuff. So he's got his own ship that he paints bright white and uses gold leaf on the edges to try and make it best for her as possible. And after sneaking a little bit and this guy being reckless, pulling into the island, like just missing big rocks and stuff just because he wants to see Freya so soon, Freya agrees to run away with him and get married the day after her 21st birthday, all unbeknownst to her father. Her father thinks this guy, Jasper, is okay, but, you know, not great. And there is someone, Hinneman, I think his name is. He's Dutch, and he's set up to be sort of a classic baddie. Dark hair, swarthy, gruff, rude, is in love with Freya also. Freya thinks he's Heemskirk, that's his name. Freya thinks he's a weirdo and kind of a creeper. Her dad doesn't like him either. So the main narrator, unnamed narrator, where I'm at right now in the halfway point, is hinting that, like, I didn't know this would be the last time I would see Jasper again. And when I saw Freya, I had no idea that this was going to happen. So it's just setting up things to turn in the story. I'm enjoying it. I like the setting and I'm enjoying his writing. I haven't read much Conrad aside from Heart of Darkness, but so far it's pretty good. I'll for sure finish this. So on to the prompts that I did finish. Prompt, let's see, what is this? Number 2, read a book with the word "the" in the cover, and I read The Reptile Room, the second in the series of Unfortunate Events series for middle grade readers by Lemony Snickett. I had started this series when I was working at my library. I would work in the children's department, sometimes shelving, which was always a huge disaster, which I enjoyed because I like sorting things and reorganizing things. So I would grab an audiobook from the shelf in the little workroom I was in, use the little stereo speaker or the CD player in there, and I would listen to this series. I think I got through the 3rd book or 4th book. So this is a reread for me, and I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed Uncle Monty very much. I wish he would have lived. I mean, I don't think it's a spoiler to say that a decent person who's taking care of the children doesn't last very long in this series. I don't think that's really a spoiler, but yeah, I read this quickly in an hour or so Saturday morning. It was really good. I really enjoyed it. I liked all the snakes. I liked the development of all the characters, Mr. Poe and of course Count Olaf, and I enjoyed it. I gave it 3 stars, sort of 3.5. I don't know. It was fun. I enjoyed it. A good pick for a readathon for sure. So then next up is read a book with a cover that matches the color of your birthstone. And I am a May baby, and that's an emerald. So I read Make Something Good Today by Erin and Ben Napier. This is extremely heavy. I don't know if I'll be able to hold this up the whole time. It's got small print throughout, and also these big photos. I don't know what GSM this paper is. It's not shiny paper, but it's certainly a higher GSM. So I really enjoyed this. I liked getting to know them and a little bit how their relationship how the relationship started, what their lives were like when they were growing up individually, and how their businesses evolved into where they are today. I love the show. I feel like out of all the home improvement shows out there, I don't watch a ton of them because they seem so samey and they always look alike, and you can't tell the personality of the person who's going to live there or where they are in the States or in Canada or wherever. It just seems so generic, like drop it down, anyone walks in, fine, I believe it. They really get to know people, and Ben and all of the contractors that they have do such a good job restoring these homes. Erin is a great designer. I like these two a lot. But so I really enjoyed it. For 4.25 stars. Really fun. Recommend it if you like the series. On HG, I think. DIY? No, I think it's HG. Okay, next up is number 3. Read a book that inspired a movie that you've seen. And at first I was sort of offended, like, I don't do that. And I started looking at my shelves and I do that super a lot. So I went with a childhood favorite, and that is Mrs. Frisby and the Rats of NIMH by Robert C. O'Brien. This is The Secret of NIMH. If you were an 80s kid, hopefully 90s kid, you saw this totally awesome movie. So good. Of course, like most 80s kid stuff, it's creepy. Like Return to Oz, creepy. Never-Ending Story, creepy. Labyrinth, creepy. Dark Crystal, creepy. I love all these movies, but they're not cheery, happy like kids shows you see today. Not at all. They're all kind of dark. So I was very happy to read this book, have an excuse to read this. I enjoyed it. There's a lot that the movie matched on and a lot that it didn't. And I get why that is, because of course it can't be a direct adaptation. I would say if you've watched the movie, you probably enjoy this too. I haven't seen it in such a long time. I thought I would have watched it this last week and I just didn't get a chance to, but I will soon. My memory of things doesn't quite match up with some of what happened. Again, absolutely fine. The one big difference though is that there's no sparkly. There's no big necklace or stone in the book that has some kind of crazy magic powers. There's none of that. So that was a little odd. And also weird in the book, there are so many J or J names. There's Jeremy, Jenner, Jonathan, Jemima, Johnson. Oh man. I should have made a list. I really should have. But it was like, does Robert O'Brien only know J names? Oh, I said Justin already, I think. Nicodemus, of course. Mr. Ages, of course. Jeremy. Oh, I like Jeremy so much. That was kind of odd to me. Like Mrs. Frisby was always Mrs. Frisby. Mr. Ages was Mr. Ages. And there was Nicodemus and Dragon the Cat. And then everyone else who kind of wandered in had a J or J name somehow. Odd. Enjoyed it anyways. I recommend it for all you 80s kids out there. Okay, let's see. I am all over the place here with my books, so let's try and get more organized. Read a book completely not in your house. I'm like, oh yeah, I picked a Robin Carr book that was 400 pages. I thought, perfect, it'll be perfect. Like, it's fast reading. It was super hot. I threw my back out this week, so I didn't move much for a few days. I started reading it at work because that's not at my house when I worked later in the week, but I quickly realized this was not the way to go. And this weekend was incredibly hot, like in the 90s with high dew point and high humidity. I think yesterday the heat index was over 100. So I didn't go outside unless I had to. But I did read Saturday morning outside this entire book. It's thin, but it counts. This is Through Glacier Park in 1915 by Mary Roberts Rinehart. Mary Roberts Rinehart is an American mystery author, fiction author. She's been called the American Agatha Christie. I've read her stuff when I was in high school. I don't remember much about it other than the editions that I own were mass market and the print was so tiny, even for me way back then, pre-glasses, you know, in my teens when my eyes were really great. It was still like trying to read these books. That's all I remember about it. But this was really delightful. There are 3 instances where she uses something that sounds like the N-word that means meanness or being a little skinned or, you know, can you guess the word I'm thinking of? And that was sort of shocking. It was 2 times on one page in the beginning, and then like the 3/4 point, she says it again. It's like, why did you use this word? You don't have to use this word. But aside from those weird jarring instances, this is sort of a quarter or so of her talking about how the government is very measly in trying to protect Glacier Park. This is in, I believe, northwestern Wyoming, and how they need to have roads built because not everyone wants to travel by horse for 2 weeks across all this beautiful nature, you know, how they have no money for cabins for rangers, and how most of the park then is sort of, for lack of a better term, unpoliced, unmanaged for huge chunks of time. Aside from those little, that's where she starts, and then that, again, that 3/4 point, it pops up again for a few pages. Aside from that, though, it's just a travelogue about her in this group riding their horses up and down very steep passageways. But there's beautiful photographs that she took throughout too. So here is one, and then turn it around again. I mean, how beautiful is this? See, there's one where you can see her horse. Gold Dust, I think it was called. And he was kind of crouchy. Crouchy, that's not a word, crotchety. I don't think horses crouch. Here, Gold Dollar. He's in the bottom here. Whoop, there he is. And she travels, the guide who travels with her is Howard Easton, who is the one who was really good buddies with Teddy Roosevelt. And he and Roosevelt had just come back from a trip a few months before she went on this trip. So enjoyable. I've had this on my shelves for over 10 years, and I'm glad I finally read it. If you're interested in travel writing and nature writing and what national parks were like shortly after they were established, I recommend it. It was really delightful and a really fast read. It made me want to be outside more often and not so much of an indoor girl, as my mom always used to call me. Okay, the very last book is to read a genre that scares you or your least read genre. And I took this to mean the genre that I would like to read more of. And for me, that is books about work. I'm a massage therapist and I do energy work, and I have quite a few books, as you can imagine, that I consider work books. So I was trying to find something that wasn't just about one particular kind of massage, like just the Alexander technique, just neuromuscular therapy, excuse me, just Reiki, you know, whatever. So I picked this up. It was the most like a book novel I could think of. This is Table Lessons, Insights in the Practice of Massage Therapy by Douglas Nelson. Douglas Nelson is a precision neuromuscular therapy massage therapist based in Illinois, in Champaign. He has, at least had when he published this book, 16 different locations around the area. Neuromuscular therapy uses trigger points as its focus. So someone comes in, a client comes in, and do their health form and you talk to them about why they're there and they say, oh, I have a back injury, my right back hurts, I can't bend to the left, you know, and based on your movements and what you say, how it feels, they can figure out which muscle to target and address by hitting, like, you know, just using your finger and just hitting one point and holding sometimes, or, you know, doing a little circle each direction or anything to release it. And it's not a passive massage. It is more active on your part. You might have to sit up and down. You'll have to recreate movements back and forth so you address all the muscles that are involved in that particular injury. That's neuromuscular therapy. And precision neuromuscular therapy, which is his sort of little niche of it, is very, very precise. I would love to take a class with him, but I don't have the $800 something for a weekend class to take. However, this was interesting. He has been a therapist since 1977, so longer than I've been alive. Hallelujah. He really knows his stuff. I enjoy his columns in Massage and Bodywork magazine, which is published by ABMP, one of the 2 national regulation and insurance agencies for massage therapists. So I enjoy that column when I read it, when I get those magazines from friends. I don't belong to ABMP. So it's good. I don't think anyone who is not a massage therapist would give 2 craps about this book, quite frankly. It's fairly well written considering he is not a writer by profession. However, I was quite annoyed in chunks. I should say throughout, not in chunks, throughout it, because unless he had some kind of a word count that he had to hit, there are so many words that could have been conjunctions and should have been conjunctions that make it sound incredibly stiff. I'm trying to not use a conjunction. I can't. See, I can't. No one talks like Captain Raymond Holt from Brooklyn Nine-Nine in real life. People say shouldn't and can't and won't, and I haven't, and I have not, and this is what... It was so jarring. I'm like, who is saying this? What robots are you talking to? Do you talk like a robot then? Because that's how it comes across. And I understand he's recreating conversations with patients. He uses names like, you know, Mrs. C, Mr. K. So there's no identifying information. He gives roughly their age, their injury, what their hobbies were, what brings them there. And then talks about a little, sometimes exactly how I treated it, sometimes not. Talks about his failings, how it's not, you know, a fix-all, other things that can be involved, how to network with doctors and develop a good referral sort of circle for everyone involved. I'm saying a lot about this book and nobody cares about this book, and I apologize, but I don't know where else to talk about this. So it was interesting. I enjoyed it. I wouldn't say rush out and get it, but if you're interested in PNMT, if you're interested in Douglas Nelson's work, if you want to read a semi-memoir and maybe get some ideas on how to treat fellow patients, I should say clients, we can't say patients, clients, this is something to pick up. This little book is almost 200 pages. Talk about GSM for papers. What is this? Weird. So it took a long time to read, but it was interesting. Whew, that was a lot about PNMT. And that's all of the prompts. So I did pretty good. I don't know how many hours it was, but I did read 5 books. That's not too different from what I would normally read in a week. My page count. I think I was around 970 pages-ish. So that's all right. I will participate next year. Hopefully I can get my act in gear and learn how to edit, and I will be able to vlog a little bit. I feel like my life is incredibly boring. So who wants to see what I'm doing? But I come up here twice a week and talk about what I'm reading. So I don't know. I am slowly going to start reviving my Instagram. I am set on private because when I was not on private, I got hacked recently. So I'm back on private again. But if your name is semi-familiar to me or you include a note, I will approve you. It's fine. I just don't want like sub for sub crazy people or trolls or perverts to show up. And you know they're everywhere. So trying to limit that as much as possible. So I'll link my Instagram below, and yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed Reading Rush. If you participated, I hope you did very well. If you just watched all the vlogs, I hope you enjoyed them. I'm going to go back and watch some newer people I didn't know of before I just subscribed to and see some of their vlogging. And yeah, I look forward to participating next July. So that's it. All right, I hope you're having a good start to your week and staying healthy and taking care of yourself and each other. And I will see you guys very soon.